One of the great things I remember about you, and I must tell the story first, and then we'll roll in, is how you utterly surprised me by giving me the DAR award at an event at the Jackson Center. It was a Saturday, and just for the camera, what was the award and how did you finesse it? Because it was a complete and utter surprise.
Well, the DAR makes available awards for local people who do special things. And it's not an award that's given out very often. And so I was very happy to nominate you, and the National agreed with what we sent in, and that's how we were able to present that award to you. And it was also a type of an award that we couldn't tell anyone about it because we didn't know until we got word from Washington whether we would be allowed to give it to you or not.
And as I recall, and this is my memory bank, there was some presentation event at the Jackson Center of which I came to film and all that other stuff. And I think it was Mark Thomas spoke. There was a reason to have the event because everybody was there. And then all of a sudden, at the end, you surprised me by saying, oh, by the way, we're giving this award and it's to you. And it was terrific how you pulled that up. How did you connect with the Jackson Center? And what was the kind of first inkling that you might want to get involved?
Well, we were looking for a program for a DAR meeting, and at that time you were just going into exploring about the Jackson Center and the availability and the capability of what it could be doing. And so we connected with Raleigh, and we had the tour of the building, and Raleigh at the time said, we are going to be looking for docents and people that would like to help us. And my daughter happened to be at that meeting, and she said, you know, that's right up your alley. She said, you'd enjoy that. And so I called Raleigh and asked him what it entailed, and so from there on, that was it. I was Raleigh's other arm, I guess.
Well, in so many fronts. So what did Raleigh, when you first walked in there, what did he suggest you might do?
Well, the first suggestion was, he said, well, we've got to clean this place out. And so that was the first thing, to go to the basement and clean the dishes out of the cupboard.
We really were right at the nub, huh? Wow. And that was kind of scary, even going down into that basement and into that area.
It was. It was kind of a spooky place because it was so empty.
They had a lot of, as I recall, a lot of Masonic memorabilia down there and stuff for the various classes. I remember a casket and a skeleton.
That I didn't see, I'm glad. I think I would have been more concerned about that than anything else then.
So as Raleigh had you start doing soup to nuts in that area, what were some of the things that you decided as the center needed? You know? Well,
it was something that we had to have people come and see what the capabilities would be. And so I said something to Raleigh about why not tag on with some of the things that Lucille Ball's group was doing, what Audubon was doing. And okay, there was, who else was there?
Roger Torrey Peterson.
Roger Torrey Peterson, Audubon.
And the Lucy Desi Center.
There's another one that my mind is gone, but it will come.
Fenton.
Fenton.
Sure.
Thank you. And so we all got together and we all discussed what we could do to bring people in, and we started talking about bus tours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the bus tour luncheon started. Bringing people in that way. And there was a gal at Lucy that put everything together and got to the bus companies, and she scheduled the bus stops. They would eat lunch at one place and then go and tour one of the other places, so that it was just that group was the nucleus for it.
In addition, we also needed to hand out something to explain who Robert Jackson was. Do you remember that stuff?
Yes, we did a brochure. That's right. I'd forgotten about that.
And I think you actually even designed it and helped write some of that.
Yes, and there was a gal that laid it out for us. We showed her what we wanted and how we wanted it to look. And
is that Linda Cowan?
Yes, Linda.
And so during those early days, so aside from trying to figure out what we're doing, but you also had to learn about Jackson. How did you learn about Jackson?
I was very disappointed that we never knew about Jackson. And so it was starting grassroots to learn about him and what he really was, which was a lot of fun, because that was the beginning of putting a docent book together to explain to people what Robert Jackson was and why we're establishing a facility for him.
Who were some of the other docents at the time?
You realize I'm a little bit old and my mind is hard to remember.
Was Gloria there then? Gloria Lasser?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, bless her heart. Yes. She was there, and
Fran Galvado?
And Fran. We didn't see much of Fran. She was kind of behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Oh, I wish I could remember some of the girls' names.
Ann Cole?
Yes. A gentleman from the stamp company.
Jim Oreo.
Yes.
In fact, I just talked to Jim. He was another one of the guys I was introduced to.
Jim.
So I'm reading from Kathy Evans' book, which talked about Gloria Lasser, Carolyn Volk, Ann Cole, who signed up, and administrative assistant Carol Drake, who sought to coordinate the many tasks undertaken by these ambitious women. Ambitious women, there you go.
Yes, we were. Time was nothing. I mean, when you were there, it was just great doing things, and time, like I say, it was nothing. I mean, it was just all of a sudden, good heavens, everybody's going home.
So you gave tours. I mean, you physically toured people around the building. Yes,
we did. We also had the information of different things and events around that would connect to Jackson, to try to make it interesting for people to realize that it wasn't just a lawyer and in the Nuremberg trials, that there was other parts of his life.
The building itself had a unique reputation with the Kent family, and Ulysses Grant was there. Did you talk about that during your tour?
Oh my, yes, that was a real big tale that went with the tour when Ulysses S. Grant was there, and how he wouldn't stay because he wasn't allowed to smoke his cigar. In the time that he went up Chautauqua Lake on the boat, on the mailman's boat.
Right.
And then we were able to find a picture of that boat.
Right.
So that tied in. It was something about Mrs. Kent and Grant that didn't set too well.
Yeah. I'm not real sure with that. Then that whole story about Grant not willing to go to Reuben Fenton's mansion because they had a falling out, and it's kind of a snub at Reuben Fenton.
Yes, yes. Oh, he definitely. Yeah, that was a big snub not to go to the governor's house. Yeah.
And then you were there when we had various programs at that time. Were you there when the Nuremberg prosecutors came in, or some of those folks?
Oh yes, it was great to have the honor to meet those people. And Father Fuchs loved him. He was such a dear. Oh, he was sweet. And oh, there were just so many people that we met. I wish my mind were. My mind was a little more capable of having saved all that.
You remember meeting? Were you there when Rehnquist came? Chief Justice Rehnquist.
Oh yeah.
And that was crazy. So many people.
Oh yes, when we really did work. That was the day it rained.
Right.
And we were busy wiping puddles off of chairs so people could sit.
Yeah, good memory. And what I remember the most about, a lot of things, but the weather itself was overcast, and it did rain before. But when the program started, it stopped.
Stopped.
Just enough so that we could get in the hour-long program, and then we went to Chautauqua for dinner.
Right.
And thank God, then the rains came again. So it was, we were lucky at least to get the program in.
We had such a nice crowd.
Oh, it was huge. Did you get a chance to meet him or be part of that? Was there a picture?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Very much so.
And also, one of the things I remember about you, Carolyn, so many things, but you were responsible for decorating the Jackson Center during Memorial Day. So when they'd have those Memorial Day parades, you were the one that said, let's put banners and stuff around that. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Remember what inspired you to kind of turn that corner lot into sort of a real showcase?
Well, it was, the parade went that way. And in the building, I just felt the building should be decorated to. It was such a great building to decorate. The same way with Christmas.
Yeah. Remember, we got the Christmas tree from Juanita Bratton.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful tree. And that just was the epitome of Sarah Weeks' room.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
Did you meet Sarita? Did you? I know she was working on kind of developing the room conceptually and provided furniture. Was she helpful?
Oh my, yes, yes. She was. Yes, she did. She knew where the pieces of furniture should go, and what shouldn't go in front of the windows. She was very emphatic about things like that.
Well, and she held sway It was her furniture.
That's right. That's right.
And similarly with the decorations in the grant room, Betty Linnae funded it, but also she had her own ideas of things.
It's wonderful the different hands that helped decorate and get the facility moving.
When I look at the list, it's expansive. It's a tremendous amount of people, but there was a quarterback sort of orchestrating all that internal work, and that was Raleigh.
Oh yes.
You have a good story about Raleigh Kidder?
Well, Raleigh didn't like meetings, and there were a lot of meetings that were going on with the different organizations in trying to get the Jackson Center to fit in with them, like the Reg and things like that. And Raleigh would go to the first meeting, and then he'd say, "Here, Carolyn, you go to the next meeting." So yes, I got roped into a lot of the meetings that Raleigh didn't want to go to.
So you were his eyes and ears.
Oh, I don't know. Just when he wanted to be a part of the community, and he wanted to make sure that we did participate.
And you got the DAR involved with us at various programs, and you actually gave a similar award, or the same award, to John Barrett. You remember that?
Yes. And to Raleigh.
And to Raleigh, that's
yeah.
right. So we salute you. We thank you for that.
Yeah.
Those are big events. Now, how long were you kind of there at the center? You were seemingly there near the beginning, or at the beginning.
That was right. He really was at the beginning, and things hadn't really moved along in a physical way in the center yet. So, but once it got started, we really went.
Well, there were a lot of interesting programs there with law clerks and the Nuremberg prosecutors and civil rights leaders at the time.
That really is what brought it into the community, too.
We had Linda Brown of Brown versus Board of Education, and James Meredith, and other people from the civil rights movement that were
and of course, all of that was your doings, and in the connections that you had, and your foresight of knowing how that would fit into the community is really, I think, like a tremendous balloon. It just kept blowing up bigger and bigger.
Well, thank you for that. We should probably stop the interview right there. No. Well, it was great because it did bring in an awful lot of the community and into the theater itself, and the use of the theater. And I know you were involved in giving tours to students and stuff like that. Do you remember any crazy incidents where, as you were touring people or students, that either were highlights or something unusual that happened, where, because it's sometimes you never quite knew the size of the crowd or what kind of crowd you'd have.
Oh, there were just so many things. It would be hard to recall all of the different things because each group you brought through would be completely different. It would be a different makeup, and the things that they would be interested in. One group would be interested in something, and another group another. avenue along the way, and I don't know. I couldn't really pick out any one particular event.
Were you around when we got that desk from Nuremberg?
Of course.
Yeah. I'm looking at the picture here.
Got pictures of when we brought it into the building.
Yeah.
That thing weighed.
Oh.
It took, there were what, 6 men lifting it?
It was like the Holy Grail. We came in. Warren Erickson introduced us to an Army guy in Germany, and that in turn said, hey, when we were in Germany, Warren, John Barrett, and I went to the base, saw the desk, and we said, you guys want to keep it? No, we just as soon get rid of it. Wow. So then through really Paul Fardink, Colonel Paul Fardink from Jamestown, he knew the 4-star general, and he got the approval finally to get the desk here, and the desk had to be transported from Germany to here, and there was a plant that Bush Industries had in Germany, where it went and got it, crated it like it was the Holy Grail, and then delivered it. And it was an unbelievable Saturday, I remember, where we had to uncrate it, and there's a picture of Warren Erickson, myself, Paul Fardink, all kinds of other people, because it was a huge undertaking, but a big get.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
With the Army green paint.
That's right. Oh, yeah, you remember that. That was fun. And as you were there, Carolyn, for all those years and met so many people, did you get a greater sense of Jackson? You know, here he is, a Gruesburg, Jamestown native.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just amazing. Such he went about things in such a quiet way, and I think that's why a lot of the community never knew what a great man he was, because he was so quiet. He wasn't one that blew his horn.
Yeah. And well, the center is a tribute to him and the variety of people and many people. But at the beginning, there was a few, and the Raleigh Kidders, the Carolyn Volks, the Fangel Bottles. Yeah. You can take great pride in that.
I really do. I'm so pleased that it's there, and when things happen, I do keep up with everything that's going on there, and I think I always will. I mean, it was a great part of my life for 10 years or more.
Yeah. Well, I'll make sure you get this book.
Oh, I would love to have one, yes.
I'll make sure that you get that. I'd give you this one, but it's all marked up. And I don't think you want one. Nice clean one, but you're all part of that. Well, thank you for letting me pop in. What's the question I should be asking you? What's that story you were thinking about when I was going to be coming down today that you said,
Oh, I don't know why that even came to my mind is when you asked me about your coming, and it's strange that I would think about what Raleigh wanted me to do was go down in the kitchen and clean the kitchen cupboards out and get the cups and saucers and everything out of there because he didn't want them in there. They didn't need them. And I don't know why that came to my mind.
Well, we literally had to clean and start at the beginning. So
we sure did.
Well, this has been great. Well, thank you, Carolyn. And thank you for letting me just drop in on you.
Thank you, Greg, for giving me the honor of being interviewed by you.
Well, we'll keep you posted, and looks like December 14th, which is our Founders Day, we're going to do something on, because that'll be our 20th.
Well, I'm a little more free now, and maybe I can get out and get there.
Well, that would be special for us. Well, again, thanks, Carolyn.
Thank you.